So this video ended up being longer than I expected, so if you look at the description, I put timestamps for where I talk about certain things, and if you click the blue link, it should take you to that part of the video, so you don't have to watch the whole thing to get certain answers. And I've also included the translations of what their handwritten messages say. I've got the Korean written out for people that want to try translating it, and then I've got my version of the English, which I'm not fluent, so there could be errors, but that's what I get from it. So I also want to point out that I'm not an ARMY, so it's like an unbiased review. I'm not loving this just because I love BTS and it's BTS, because no hate, but I'm not ARMY. I'm sorry. Hey guys, so I kind of wanted to talk about the good and the bad with these books. If you haven't heard about this series, it's got 4 different books. All 4 books are included in that $100 price, whatever. And then of course it comes with a pen. And if you leave this on and forget, it will turn itself off and freak you out. Because you randomly hear screaming. So it's actually pretty awesome. Like, it's basically like the Leapfrog books, but for Korean, so it's a lot of fun. Each book has different chapters, and each chapter has different sections. The vocabulary is taught by pictures, and there is absolutely the only English in this book is like the explanations, but all the dialogues and stuff are in Korean without an English translation. So when you want the English, you use your pen, and every time you turn the page, this page constantly has the languages there, and you just tap them to change it. Just tap them, and it changes the languages. Okay, and each book also has these sections of pronunciation differences. So like in the first books, they're super easy. Let me switch it back to Korean. Then you hit the play button, and you have to choose which one she said. Now this part can be kind of confusing because this sounds right, but it's wrong. That's the correct answer. And in the beginning, they're obviously different. Like you got oh, and you got ooh. So, but then as you go on into the more advanced books, like in this one, they get a little bit harder. So on these ones, because of the sound changing rules, like 한국말 is pronounced like the second one with the 한국말, and like I can't read backwards. 입니다 is pronounced like with the square character. 입니다, 입니다. Technically they sound the same, but they're wanting you to point out the sound changing rule. So they're wanting you to choose that one, even though they both technically sound the same. They're looking for you to understand that sound changing rule. Okay, so we talked about how there's the different pronunciations you go over. It teaches you vocabulary with pictures. They also have these culture sections that are a lot of fun, and they have these adorable images. So the culture sections, this is one of my complaints I find with it, which it really isn't a big deal. It's kind of just like, why? So you can listen to the explanation in English.
Public transportation in Korea includes bus. Nihongo.
You can listen to it in Japanese. And you can listen in Spanish.
El autobús y el metro son los principales 한국어.
But if you put it Korean,
언어를 선택하세요.
Please choose a language. It's like, why not say that part in Korean too? I mean, the whole point of this book is to be able to understand Korean. So like, it's not a big deal, but it's just like, why? Okay, so we talked about the culture sections. We talked about pronunciation differences. Vocabulary is taught by pictures. Okay. So the other complaint, this can be said about literally every textbook. Most textbooks are made to be in conjunction with like a school, or they're assuming you're using more than one resource. So the grammar explanations can be pretty lacking. Like, they're really short and simple. But that's also can be said about a lot of things. So that's not a big deal, but that's just an FYI for people that are curious. Let me see if I can get this better. This is a grammar lesson, and that's all you get. aside from, of course, the example sentences and the example dialogue and stuff. But that's how the grammar is taught to you. But that's not a big deal. You can use other textbooks. There's tons of online resources. When they teach grammar, they tell you what they're teaching you. Like right there in that box, if you type that into Google and follow it up with grammar, you'll get tons of other websites. Just type in 응원하고 and you'll get lots of sources. So the biggest complaint I have with this book is the QR codes. I've seen other people comment this as well, so I know it's not just me. My phone, if I use the camera, I can aim it on a QR code and it'll take me to that site. If someone sends me a picture that has a QR code in it, my phone recognizes it and I can go to that site. My phone doesn't recognize this. I have to switch to Bixby in order to access this QR code. So if I didn't have the phone that I have, I wouldn't be able to use Bixby, and I would be stuck with those other people in the comments section that are like, I can't access the QR codes. So if you pay $100-something for a book, you want to be able to access this stuff. So for this dialogue, it's not a big deal. You can hit the play button.
아직까지 도전을 못 해봤어요. 사실 이게 좀 커요. 보내시고 직접 있습니다. 이거를 제가 한번 읽어볼게요.
I can hear the whole dialogue. Well, the whole written part of the dialogue. So it's not that big of a deal. But then you have sections like this. It says, where are the BTS members? Well, if you can't access that QR code, it could be any of these places. You have no idea. So there's areas of the book where you actually need to be able to access the QR code in order to use the book fully. So that's really frustrating for people. Okay, another complaint about this book, whenever you have those dialogues, like this one we'll look at,
English.
you can listen to the translation.
A. I like to try new styles, but I haven't tried this yet. In fact, it is a bit oversized. B. Oh, he is putting it on voluntarily. A. I will try this on.
Okay, so this can be confusing for a beginner. If you know Korean at all, you know that nowhere in this first part does it say, I like to try new styles. So as a beginner, you would look at that and be like, where are they getting that from? This starts with the, but I have not tried it on. In fact, it's a little big. But what I find frustrating about this, I don't understand Japanese, so I don't know what the Japanese one says, but if you go to the Spanish one,
Pero todavía no he probado.
it starts at the pero, but. It starts at the but blah blah blah. I didn't hear anything about the I like to try new styles in the Spanish one. My Spanish is rusty, but I did not hear that. So like, why does it say that in the English one? Why doesn't the English start with, but I haven't tried this one yet? So that's just kind of irky to me. But I think that's mostly it. It has all kinds of little practice exercises for you. So this is really amazing for review. It's super interactive. It's super fun. I really do love it. I know a lot of people have unboxings and everything, and they talk about how it's set up, but I don't know if anyone really talks about what's wrong with it. So I just wanted to point out some of the stuff. So I hope that helps you. Let me know if you have any questions about the series, and I will try to answer them.